Welcome to a month of recommended books. That is what I'm doing for Witchtober this year. And so these are going to be a variety of books that I have read over the past couple of years. And I am only including books that I have done with my, it feels still new, but it's been almost 2 years of doing it, of a format for my reviews where I have my brief discussion of what is the book, how I would describe the book, rating, talk about the rating and why I gave that, and then who I would recommend it to. So going from that format, I have read a lot of books, and so throughout this month I have selected different themes. So today we are kickstarting with beginner witch books. We will have a beginner Wiccan books, but of course there's always some overlap, but these tended to be a bit more on the witch side than the Wiccan side. So without further ado, let's jump in. And I mentioned that it's over the past 2 years as well, because I've read other books. I'm not using my old ones that didn't have this format, because I have a Google Docs massive folder of all of them, so I can easily find the information, and I didn't start doing that until mid 23, so really I just started from 2024 basically. So let's go. Today we have 20 books we're covering, so I'm gonna keep it kind of brief just so this isn't 6 hours long. And then I will have a blog post linked below where you can find my brief synopsis of each book as well as links to the different full reviews. If you want to check them out, it'll be in the blog post. I know, look at me being such a professional because I have a blog post related. Anyways, jumping in with The Hedge Druid's Craft by Joanna van der Hoven. I say it with such confidence every time. So this was an introduction kind of to her thing of being a hedge druid, but honestly I think it had enough to give you an idea of one option within witchcraft. And throughout this list, it's not always going to be books that I'm like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. But I think you need to read from a variety of different places to learn as much as you can. And so maybe hedge druidry is going to be your thing. But it was a really good book. It inspired me a lot. It had, even though it was really short, it had a lot of really good information within. Next, you know it was coming. You know it's going to be here pretty early on, right? ITOW, Inner Temple of Witchcraft. I am constantly recommending this book. My husband is constantly recommending this book. Did you know that's the first conversation we had within our very first meeting, way back in the day? Yeah, that book came up. And he has recommended that book to everyone, ever. You're Christian and you're wanting to meditate, Inner Temple of Witchcraft. You're going through a hard time, Inner Temple of Witchcraft. This is the book we are constantly telling people to go through. It is dense, it is hard, but when you get to the other side of it, you're doing pretty good. And so and I've read through a handful of other Year and a Day books. I've tried other ones. None of them are as good as this. And that's saying something. It took me 3 tries. But listen, it was worth it at the end. So I will say it is quite a commitment. It is hard. And it is all mental. So you're building your mental muscles before you move into the other stuff, which is not how a lot of witches love to do things. But we want to get into the fun pretties, and you do get a little bit, but for the most part, it's the inner experience. You're learning how to meditate, how to control your mind, and then you get into the fun stuff, which is the next one. Outer Temple of Witchcraft. Yeah. So you started in the brain, and then you move out into the world. This is where you learn about the Wheel of the Year, the elements, your tools, circle casting, a little bit more hands-on stuff. And again, it took me for flipping ever to get through that book as well. And here I am also. I'm sure I would probably say STOW would be included as the trifecta 3 to do, but I swear STOW is on a mission to kill me. I mention it, I start talking about it, and then my throat just decides to have a coughing fit. But yeah, maybe STOW, maybe not. Maybe that's what the coughing fit was about. But I'm working through that one right now. My third attempt, third tries the charm every time. But these are set up as a year dedication thing, and I think they're really fantastic. I think if you're gonna pick any one to use as to do the full training, these are the ones. If you want to spend money, he does also teach these. I've never done that. I am team witchcraft should be accessible, and while his are not the most expensive, they are still a pretty chunk of change, and so I have never been able to afford that, but if you have the funds, or if you live in the area, he's in New Hampshire, you can actually take the class with him. And he has like the Temple of Witchcraft is like a real place out there in New Hampshire, Salem, New Hampshire. So go check it out. And yes, I know you're like, Salem? Not that Salem. That's Massachusetts. I know. There's Salems everywhere. There's a Salem, Utah. There's a Salem, Oregon. I think there's probably even a Salem in Idaho. Like, I think that's just the thing. Like, we have to have the same city names everywhere. Why? Don't know. Next, we have Kitchen Witchcraft, The Element of Fire by Rachel Patterson. I love her. Her website is amazing, by the way. If you're needing to research stuff, she's got a lot online. I don't know about her other books in the Kitchen Witch series, but this one is a book just about the element of fire. And to be honest, maybe the other ones, maybe she has other ones on the other elements, but like, if you have the skill to write a good book on just one topic like that, you have skills. It is so hard to write just on the one topic and not stray away, not be boring. She succeeds quite well. And it's, again, it's one of those where beginner witches, you have so much stuff to cover. Sometimes just diving deep into one topic is a good thing to do. And that was this book. And it was well written anyways. And like, I don't agree with everything in the book. Obviously, I do my own thing, and even more so nowadays. But like, that's the thing, is I think it's important to read books that you don't always agree with every single thing, because I don't think you're going to find that. But it's good to get an idea from a variety of sources. Next, we have Wiccan Feasts, Celebrations, and Rituals. Make the most out of special holidays with witchy rites, decorations, and herbal magic touches by Silja. Again, with names. So again, was it my absolute favorite? No. But as a beginner witch, it gives you a lot of stuff to work on. It gives you the Wheel of the Year, the moons, just different stuff that comes up throughout the year, and different ways to celebrate. Next, we've got one of my favorite authors. I come to her all of the time. Llewellyn's Little Book of Witchcraft by Deborah Blake. This is like one of those that it's like, if you only want to have a small book on witchcraft, but covers like almost everything, this is the one. Deborah has such a good way of writing. She can describe things in a way that's not overwhelming, but also gives you a lot of information, and her spells and rituals, I'm gonna be real, they've pretty much like, out of all of the ones I have tried, because I have tried quite a few from the various books we've talked about over the years, and so far hers has had the highest success rate out of them all, and they're also relatively easy. And I loved the ones out of this book. It's one I need to buy because it is so good. Like, even if you're an advanced witch, I would still look at it. Like, there's a lot of stuff you've already read before, but it's got a lot of good things. It has your spell basics, and I don't know, it's got a little bit of everything in there. It's a really good book. Next, we have Witch at the Forest's Edge, 13 Keys to Modern Traditional Witchcraft by Christine Grace. Now again, not every book is it like, oh my god, this is like the best thing ever, everyone needs to love this. Sometimes they're on this list because you need to see other options. This is another one of those. This is their tradition. This is the author's tradition, and it goes through a lot of information, and it is expanding your horizons on what could be an option for you, as well as, of course, some basics. Next, we have Real Life Intuition, Extraordinary Stories from People Who Listen to Their Inner Voice by Melanie Barnum. So see, the thing with witchcraft, a lot of this is going to come down to intuition, and of course, I actually have a video that is coming out next month, but I recorded it today. Just remember, placebo effect, and that your intuition does not tell you everything. Don't trust your intuition to tell you if a plant is what it's supposed to be for, and like specifically for like treating it in a medical sense. But usually we use our intuition a lot as witches. Use your intuition for interpreting cards or runes, or, you know, if you're wanting to combine different ingredients, or even what an ingredient means depending on how far down like a chaos witch path you go. And so learning about your intuition is something you're going to come across so much as a witch, so I figured it's a good one to have. Next, we have The Modern Guide to Witchcraft, Your Complete Guide to Witches, Covens, and Spells by Skye Alexander. So again, this is a pretty broad, most of these are going to cover a lot of the same stuff, but usually beginner witches are like, I want it all. So you're going to want to read it all over and over and over and over again, and she's got a lot of good stuff. The spells seemed really easy to do, and I kind of feel like it might have even been a Skye Alexander book that was my first that I got from the library eons and eons and eons ago when I was in middle school, which was a very long time ago. Like, more time has passed being a witch than I had leading up to becoming a witch. That's a weird place to be. But yeah, she's got this one's a pretty good one for just covering the basics of, again, the beginner witch stuff. Next we have Lighting the Wick, an intuitive guide to the ancient art and modern magic of candles by Sandra Mariah, right? Maybe? And Leanne Marama? Again, these names every time. So this is all about candles. And it is so well written. Again, I'm always impressed if you can write on just one topic, but this one was really, really good. And I think it's an important one to have. Most witches read it anyways, but specifically if you're a beginner, this was a fantastic book on the topic. And to be honest, most witches are going to be using candles a lot. Also, I hope you have the ambiance that I'm having right now. I don't know if the mic will pick it up, but it's raining. And that's not something we get very often in Utah, so it's just like this glorious, like, oh, it's the perfect day. Like, we don't get rain very often. It's either snow or hot. So when we get those few storms throughout the year of rain, it's like, oh my god, it's amazing! And if you live somewhere that rains all the time, you're probably like, oh my god, it's rain again, yay. That's how we feel about hot days. Hot, hot, hot summer days. Because that's what we've been having. Alright, next. This is one I was not anticipating to like. Love Spells, Rituals and Incantations for Getting the Relationship You Want by Sean Ingle. I know, if you've been here for a while. What? But this one was really, really good. And again, do I agree with everything? No. But it was very well written, and to be honest, how many witches are going to be coming to Witchcraft? The beginners, who are going to be like, oh my god, love spells! This one wasn't bad. And everyone, beginner witches, are going to want that anyway, so here you go. Just remember, consent is key. Just get consent, and then do whatever with consenting adults. And actually, the author does have a huge emphasis on consent, so that was pretty nice, so that's why I would recommend that one. Next, we have got The Teen Witch's Guide to Spells by Xana Eve Chown. Again, with the names. So this one, there's a lot in that Teen Witch series that I did, and this was a really good one. Now I feel like it's gonna get too loud. It's really loud rain in the background. I mean, it's awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's feeling really loud now. But anyways, I absolutely loved this book. It is one we will probably end up getting for our kids at some point. But really, even the spells then, as an adult, they're not bad. But a lot of people who are beginner witches are gonna be teenagers. I don't know, I think you would like it, you know? Like, it's, I don't know, maybe it's a little too kiddish, because it is pretty, like, picture book vibes for teenagers. But it has a lot of really good stuff, and as an adult who does not care what people think, I would love this book anyways. But it's a good one, and it's really small. You can get through it in like a day. Even for the slowest readers, like it's really, really fast. It's a small little pamphlet. Next, we have The Wheel of the Year Companion, Rituals for Celebrating Pagan Festivals of the Season by a name. I don't even know. That's probably what I did in the original one too, is like, I don't even know. So again, beginner witches, you're going to find a lot of Wheel of the Year information, and this is one for that. That's where I started a lot of my craft, was with the Wheel of the Year, and that worked out pretty well. And so this has a lot of information for you to try. It's got deities, spells, recipes, all sorts of stuff in there. Next we have the longest title in the history of ever, The Witch of the Forest's Guide to Earth Magic. Ground yourself with magic, connect with the seasons in your life and in nature by Lindsay Squire. I was so hesitant with this book, and then I ended up loving it. I think it's a fantastic book for beginners. It's got a little bit of everything from runes to shadow work. It's got a lot in there, and I was really surprised, and it was really well written, so I highly recommend this one. Next, we have The Wheel of the Year. Again, I know, it's another Wheel of the Year. But listen, it's what a lot of beginner stuff is going to cover. So, The Wheel of the Year, A Guide to Sabbats, Lunar Cycles, and the Stars Above by Nikki Van Carr. Now this one really just takes you through the year and is constantly bringing out different things to work on. If you're wanting a kind of casual but still somewhat guide through a year, this has got a lot of stuff. Next, we have The Comfy Cozy Witch's Guide to Making Magic in Your Everyday Life by Jenny Blonde. Her other book was better. I did not have it in my format, so I didn't include it. But I remember this one wasn't nearly as good, and it's for a very particular beginner witch, and that is not a young one. You need to be older, like at least in your 30s with a traditional 30-year-old life. You need to have your career, probably kids, you know, you got the house, the cars, everything, the usual like adult life going on. And like 30s to 40s is where you're aiming with that one. Not teen witch, not early teens, tweens, and young adult, you know, like 18, 19. no. And I don't really think you're gonna, it's not the same vibe, right? Like you're just gonna be a little bit older, but this is not to say that they're not older witches. You exist. This is the market for you. So if you're an older witch, you'll probably get a lot from it. I do think her first book was better, substantially, but it's probably not a beginner witch book. It's more of a, like, housekeeping kind of a book for witches. Next, we have The Modern Witchcraft Grimoire, Your Complete Guide to Creating Your Own Book of Shadows by Skye Alexander. If you are wanting to work on your Book of Shadows, this is a good place to read, because it gives you a lot of information on what to include and just all of the stuff. Again, writing a book just on the one topic, but it also has a lot of like spells and stuff in here that were really good. It's got a lot of tips and things. So again, beginner witches, you're going to be wanting a lot of stuff like this. It's got a lot of information for you. Continuing with that series, we have The Modern Witchcraft Spellbook, Your Complete Guide to Crafting and Casting Spells by Skye Alexander. It's a little bit more emphasis on just the spell crafting, but it's got a lot of good information in here. If you are getting a little burnt out on the beginner books, you don't need to read it. But if you're also like, oh my god, I want to read it all, this is a good one. And then lastly, I don't know why I didn't include that. I'm gonna have a bonus one after this because like I literally mention it in my notes. Magic and Witchcraft, an Illustrated History by Ruth Clydesdale. This is a textbook. You're reading a textbook, just get that out of the way. It's a textbook. But it goes through the history quite well. Gives you a lot of information, and if you're a beginner witch, you should know the full history. And this is a good place to start. My bonus one, I guess I just didn't take notes on that because it wasn't in my usual 2 lists, but the other, my bonus one that is not on my blog that I'm gonna have to add, Triumph of the Moon by Ronald Hutton. I constantly talk about this one. I think everyone should read it, but especially if you are a beginner witch, you need to brace yourself. It is a massive book. It is so big. It is so unbelievably dense. But like, it is, you need to read it. And I don't know about his other books. I haven't read any of his other books. They're not at the library and they're not through Interloan. So I have to actually go and buy them. And money is the thing that is really hard to get. So one of these days I will. But Triumph of the Moon is so incredibly good. It covers the history of witchcraft in a way I really genuinely have not found anywhere else. He goes into such detail. And I think this is before he converted. Like, he started to research us and then joined us. It was awesome. But this book is so good. He goes into it in such incredible detail, starting as early as you can. It does have a little bit of a British emphasis, but still. And like the more modern stuff is like kind of iffy, but at that point, I mean, you can start to find it yourself with like Raymond Buckland, Scott Cunningham, Silver Ravenwolf, Selena Fox, like Starhawk. There's a lot that are more modern, especially here in the US compared to the UK. But even then, I mean, there's a lot modernly that they just kind of skim over, but this is like the incredibly intense, dense history of witchcraft. And I think everyone should read it, especially beginner witches. So yeah, those are my recommended beginner witch books of what I have read, plus my bonus, for the last 2 years. Like I said, there's other ones. I mean, I love me some Scott Cunningham. It was my first book, so like, bonus, read that one. Wicca, Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. It is more Wicca though. But you know what? Your first book that you read as a witch that like, you're just like, oh my god. Especially like, I don't know, if you're a teen witch and it's like the first one you go out and buy, oh, it's gonna hold such a special place in your heart. Even if you never end up loving it as you grow up, like you just come back to it time and time again and you're like, oh, this is why I started it all. It's great. That's how I feel with Scott Cunningham's green book, the Wicca Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. That one was amazing, but other people will have that with other ones. And again, there's other ones that I would include too, like Rebel Witch by Kylie Ann. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, there's books I would still include. Why is that not there? Why is that not there? And I'm guessing it's because I read it in 23 or even maybe 22. I think I kind of started doing it then. But yeah, so there's a lot. There's a lot in here of books. And I really, you know, I think there's so many that I talk about. So if you're ever like, oh my god, what's some more books? I have a lot. I have talked about a lot on this channel. And if you want to hear about any of these books more in depth, they will be in the blog post, as I mentioned. And from there, it has links to them all, as well as a quick summary of them, basically my notes. The camera's overheating, so I'm just gonna end this really quick, but thank you for coming along. Thank you for watching the first of the Witchtober videos. This whole month is recommended books for this month. So yeah, there's a lot of them coming, and a huge thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to support me, get access to exclusive content. Some of these are Patreon books. Not a whole lot, but some. I think it's more later on we have more of the Patreon books. Just some of them I leave over there, so. Anyways, thank you to my Patreon peeps though, and for all of y'all who watch and comment and like and subscribe and do all of the things to appease the algorithm gods. I really do appreciate it, and I love getting to have our little witchy community of books over here. And until tomorrow, thank you so much for coming along, and blessed be.